Channel 5, Cleveland's live 24-hour news source continues. Brought to you by Ohio Edison.
We must now break the habits of both political parties and say there can be no more something for nothing, and admit frankly that we are all in this together.
Good evening. Sacrifice is the buzzword from Washington tonight.
And it looks like we will all sacrifice at least a little under the president's economic plan. Bill Clinton's first State of the Union address comes 4 weeks after his inauguration. The president touched on a number of issues tonight, from welfare to campaign reform to an emotional moment about health care. But the real issue tonight, the one that we've been hearing about, is taxes. Tonight, the details were delivered.
This economic plan can't please everybody. If the package is picked apart, there'll be something that will anger each of us, won't please anybody. But if it is taken as a whole, it will help all of us.
The tax increases are as expected. The wealthiest Americans will pay the most, but everyone who makes more than $30,000 a year will have to ante up.
The time has come for the blame to end. Spending must be cut and taxes must be raised.
The average family will be most impacted by a new energy tax. Gasoline, heating oil, and electricity will cost more beginning in 1994, about $17 a month. But there is more to the Clinton plan than just higher taxes. The president plans 150 individual government spending cuts, including scrapping the current space station model in favor of a smaller, redesigned, and less expensive one. Defense cuts will be even deeper than Clinton proposed during the campaign, now totaling $76 billion over 4 years. And massive cuts will be made in government benefit programs called entitlements, the largest of those cuts coming from Medicare. In summary, Mr. Clinton says cuts are necessary for the future.
Unless we have the courage now to start building our future and stop borrowing from it, we're condemning ourselves to years of stagnation, interrupted by occasional recessions, to slow growth in jobs, to no more growth in incomes, to more debt, to more disappointment.
The combination of new taxes and spending cuts will total about $500 billion by 1997, and that will cut the deficit by roughly 40%.
Well, as expected, the Democrats are lining up behind President Clinton after his address to the joint session of Congress, but Republicans on the other side of the aisle weren't quite so kind tonight. House Minority Leader Bob Michaels says the economy was growing when Republicans left office. He says Americans need tax incentives, not more governmental controls.
The president speaks of the 500,000 new jobs that will be created by his economic stimulus program. But there are estimates that doing it his way will cost taxpayers some $55,000 per job. It should be noted that last year alone, the private sector created 1.5 million new jobs on its own. We have to make certain that government action helps, not hinders, the growing economy.
Republicans say the president's economic program may create more problems than it solves.
Right after our newscast tonight, Ross Perot is going to be joining Ted Koppel on Nightline with his thoughts on the State of the Union. Roosevelt Leftwich watched with some local members of Perot's organization tonight, and he joins us now with more on that aspect of the story. Roosevelt.
Well, Wilma, it's not exactly what they were saying about President Clinton's State of the Union address, but what this group of folks felt that President Clinton was not saying himself. Now, one of the things the members of United We Stand America wanted to hear was the specifics about addressing the budget deficit and taxes and government spending.
Write us, put in your name and address, $15 cash check or money order.
During last year's campaign, Ross Perot was the choice of many people. For this group of folks, the things that Perot stood for are what keeps them together now. Members of United We Stand America, a group started by Perot, feel that President Clinton does have some good ideas, but there are some ideas he has had that scare them, mainly programs that will make government bigger.
The Democratic Party is just licking their chops at the prospect of getting into our pockets. Okay, and it scares the liver out of me because it's bigger government. It's government coming at you again.
In addition to bigger government, other things that bother this group include tax increases that don't go for specific goals, energy taxes that aren't slowly phased in, and deep cuts in existing federal programs that aren't being made. They say if President Clinton wants the middle class to back him, he's got to earn their trust.
And what I think the American middle class would like to see is a little sacrifice on the part of the federal government first, and then, because then we will be willing to then contribute. But I think the government needs to set an example first and foremost.
Now, one thing Stanek and others say is their apprehension is not just simply sour grapes because Ross Perot lost the election. They say they just want to make sure the interests of the middle class are truly protected. After all, Stanek says America is a nation of the people and not of big federal government, Wilma.
You know, generally speaking, we really were looking, or the Clinton administration really was looking for Perot's support in this to really push it over the edge.
Well, he talked, the president called Ross Perot and talked to him for about 15 to 20 minutes tonight, trying to gain that support. And many of these supporters say they're not necessarily against President Clinton, they just don't like some of the policies that he has called for.
All right, Roosevelt, thank you.
We're going to go live to Washington, D.C. right now, in fact, for more on tonight's big address. Our political analyst, Dennis Eckert, joins us. Hello, Dennis.
Good evening, Ted.
What are people there saying about the proposals from the president tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, President Clinton laid it on the line for his presidency and with the American people. And I'm afraid, though, that after tonight's speech, his political honeymoon may end up looking a lot more like a one-night stand. It was as specific a prescription for some bitter medicine. And unlike Mary Poppins, there wasn't a whole lot of sugar to make the medicine go down.
Dennis, I see you have Congressman Martin Hoke there. What about spending cuts? Mr. Clinton originally promised more. What are your two feelings on that?
Congressman, your sense of spending cuts, do you believe there are enough there? Do they go far enough? Would you like perhaps to see them go deeper?
Clearly, we need to have many more spending cuts. I mean, the problem that I see with the program that was presented tonight by the President is that what it does is it breaks the two most important pledges that he made to the American people during his campaign. That was, number one, to reduce taxes on the middle class, and number two, to have the budget deficit in 4 years. And this program, when all is said and done, when the smoke clears, when we add up the numbers, will clearly not do either one of those. And the tax increase, $246 billion, the largest in the history of the American people, falls squarely on the shoulders of the middle class.
Congressman, one of the challenges President Clinton laid out tonight was a very simple statement. If you don't like my plan, tell me yours and be as specific. Will the Republicans have a specific alternative to President Clinton's plan in the areas of spending, program cuts, and taxes?
Yes, absolutely. As you know, I am on the House Budget Committee. John Kasich, also an Ohioan, is the ranking Republican member on that committee. And we will be presenting a Republican alternative budget that will have deeper cuts in terms of spending and that will not balance the budget on the backs of the American middle class.
Well, Ted, it's going to be a lot of fun before the Republicans and the Democrats can figure out if there is common ground here. What was so unique and different tonight is that Bill Clinton did not give a packaged speech. There were some surprises in there. Congressman Hoke and I were talking about our agreement and a seeming broad bipartisan agreement on campaign finance reform.
That's right. In fact, Dennis, I think that I was probably the first person in the entire House to jump up and applaud when he said that he wanted to pass a campaign finance reform package.
Well, Ted, the details aren't clear, but what is clear, Republicans and Democrats know that they're headed for a new destination under this president. They just might not like where they end up.
Dennis, you got 15 seconds for a quick response to this. Is this a foregone conclusion that it's going to pass because of the Democratic-controlled Congress, or might there be some questions posed to some of those congressmen up there who happen to be Democrats?
Well, Ted, anybody who's watched an NBA basketball game now knows what Bill Clinton wants to do. It's called a slam dunk. He doesn't want to give these Republicans a chance to offer separate votes on separate initiatives. It has to be one vote, one big package, and if that sounds like what Ronald Reagan did in 1981, they're absolutely right. It's another play out of the Gipper's old playbook.
Dennis Eckert and, of course, Cleveland area Congressman Martin Hoke, thank you both for joining us live from Capitol Hill.
If you were holding out for snow this week, you certainly got your wish. But at this point, you might be getting a little tired of the snow. Don joins us now with the 24-hour forecast. What's ahead, Don?
Well, it really depends where you live, Wilma. If you live over on the east side in Ashtabula, Lake, and Geauga counties, not so good tonight. Still snow squalls and quite a bit of accumulation. Generally, some flurries and a little bit of accumulation. But it is going to be cold all the way down to 7 degrees tonight, and that will mean Everything is going to freeze up. Bad driving conditions in the morning on the side streets particularly. Tomorrow, some flurries. Winds out of the west at 10 to 15. A high, only 20. That's 15 degrees below normal. And tomorrow night, partly cloudy, cold again. And our temperature in the teens, again, below normal. I guess, in a word, cold. We'll check our 5-day forecast in a few minutes.
All right, hang on then.
He's got me
this
convinced.
This is it.
Yep.
It's going to happen again.
A 12-time DUI offender is back in court for yet another arrest in Mentor. We're going to find out why officials cannot keep him off the road next.
And 7 children left home alone died in a fire today. Stay with us for that.
From News Channel 5, you are watching the news at 11 with Ted Henry and Wilma Smith, Sports Director Nev Chandler, and Don Webster with the weather.
Police say that he's made a career of driving drunk.
And earlier today, Merrill Levitt was back in court once again on another DUI charge. Levitt is a 12-time offender, and today he pleaded innocent to a whole list of charges, including driving while under the influence. He was arrested on Valentine's Day. Officials say his case is one of their most difficult ones.
It is frustrating because this person is a danger to society. Thank God he hasn't killed or injured somebody, but when you've got 12 DUIs, this person has obviously a serious problem.
The maximum he can get is 18 months in jail. Levitt's first DUI arrest was back in 1980.
This is a horrifying discovery for an Akron police officer responding to a shooting last night. Lieutenant Douglas Prade arrived on the scene to find that his son was the shooting victim. The incident happened during a fight after a rap concert. Prescott Prade was shot in the back and killed as he tried to avoid the brawl. One man was arrested on the scene for carrying a concealed weapon. And a house fire in Detroit killed 7 young children today. The 4 boys, 3 girls were all under 10 years old. They were at home alone and trapped by bars on the windows of the house. The children's parents may face homicide charges. The 7 were found in one room that they had moved a dresser near a window. They were trying to escape that fire. And we'll be right back. Earlier tonight, if you were watching, you saw one of country music's hottest stars, Billy Ray Cyrus. His crossover hit, Achy Breaky Heart, is certainly widely considered one of the main reasons that country dance halls are doing so very well these days. Ted Hart gives us a first-hand look at the surge in popularity of local country dance bars.
Shuffle, turn, turn, and box step.
The middle of the week at the Boot Scootin' Saloon in Brunswick, and it's a full house. That's the way it's been ever since this place opened a few months ago. But that's no surprise to owner Barb Tober.
It's a good time. It's good music nowadays. A lot of people are getting a little tired with some of the older type music. So I'm not surprised at all. I knew it would go real well.
So what's different about country bars these days? What makes them so popular? Well, in the words of one dance fanatic, you can come out here at 7 o'clock, get a dance lesson, have some fun, and still be home in time for the 11 o'clock news. Much of the newfound interest in country dance bars is attributed to the popularity of a handful of country artists, including Billy Ray Cyrus and Garth Brooks. And the appeal crosses over all ages. It's almost a family affair.
Young and old, all together. Hey, makes us old-timers feel young again.
Yeah. This guy's a U.S. Marine on leave. What's the attraction?
The dance, I mean, the women, it's a place to be. Everyone's here.
Heidi Longer was here once before and came back, this time with her sister and her mom.
The line dancing is fun. I wish I knew more, but it just, you catch on to it, and it's just something you want to come back to.
Some of the dances get a little complicated, but they say take it one step at a time, and even a guy with 2 left feet can fall in line. Ted Hart, News Channel 5.
Well, Ted
there
Hart
he is. I was hoping to see him in line.
Ted Hart can do it. I can do it. Except I got 3 left feet.
He looks like a cowboy.
You look good in that hat, Ted, I'll tell you.
We're going to turn to Don now for the icky, yucky weather.
Billy Ray Cyrus, or as Peter Jennings said tonight, Billy Ray Cypress.
I know. Oh, my.
Peter's a real country and western fan.
Oh,
We know.
my.
All right, let's check our numbers. 27 was our high today, 12 our low last night. The average high for this date is 35, the average low 20. Last year, 42 and 33. Record high 62 set in 1911. Record low -7 in 1885. Sunrise time, whoop, gone. All right, never mind. Oh, there it's back again. Sunrise time 7:18, sunset 6:05. Okay, guys, 12 degrees. It is cold out there. Humidity is 73%. Barometer 30.20 and rising. Winds out of the west at 14. Our wind chill 14 below zero. That is cold out there. Bundle up if you have to be out tonight. Look at some of these temperatures around the state. We're the warm spot, really, at 12 degrees, 10 in Akron and Canton, 7 in Columbus, 2 in Dayton. And it's going to be getting cold tonight, down to about 7 here in the greater Cleveland area, the way things are looking now. Look at our radar. We still have this lake effect snow coming in, and we still have problems up in the northeastern section of the state with snow squalls. And you can see that now as we have a look at how the cloud cover is, and we're still getting that lake effect cloud cover right along the shore, particularly up there in that northeastern corner, and it just doesn't seem to want to go away. On our national radar, you can see it once again. Out west, things are clearing out a little bit, but another big storm has now developed out to the west. That's going to be sliding across the country and will catch us by the weekend, the way things are shaping up. Locally right now, we still have cloud cover around the Great Lakes area, and we still have this lake effect snow, and also a few snow showers down in southern Ohio, not affected or not caused by the lake, of course. High pressure out in the central section of the country is starting to drift our way and will give us a pretty decent day by Friday, but until that time, we still have a pretty good chance of some snow flurry activity. Temperatures are going to be very cold. We will just touch on 20 tomorrow, and that will really be about it. Cold weather coming down for the next couple of days. It is going to be very cold, well below normals for this time of year, that's for sure. All right, let's have a look now at our forecast and find out what we have in store. First of all, a squall advisory in effect for Lake, Geauga, and Ashtabula counties, and that's going to continue tonight on into the early hours of tomorrow. And this is what we have in store now for the next 24 hours or so. For tonight, some flurries, some squalls out east. Several inches are possible out east. Winds out of the west at 10 to 15. The low tonight only 7 degrees. And the rest of the lake shore, a couple of inches still likely. For tomorrow, some flurries early in the day, maybe some snow squalls out east, a high of 20. Tomorrow night all the way down to 5. Friday, a peak of sunshine and 25. Saturday, Sunday, that new system comes in, bringing us a mixture of rain and snow. 32 Saturday, 42 Sunday, back to 33 on Monday, back to snow from that rain, and tomorrow morning some flurries and 12 degrees.
We're braced
let
for
up
it.
yet, really.
We're braced for it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nev is next with sports.
We'll be right back.
A laugher for the Cavs. Their 34th win of the season came at the expense of a team that has now lost 45. Mark Price played only 2 quarters tonight. He polished up his threes for the All-Star weekend. Cavs 124, Mavs 97. Coach Gar Hurd has seen this scenario all too many times. The poor Mavericks were abused in every way. Brad Daugherty with authority for 2 of his 11. The clinic was in full swing by the end of the first quarter. Here's a textbook fast break giving Danny Ferry the easy J. Ferry equaling his career high of 16. More of the same in the second quarter. Ferry to Hot Rod Williams on the give and go, and the Cavaliers go up by 19 at the half. Gerald Wilkins enjoyed a 14-point evening, including this Showtime dunk to please the crowd. And yes, all the Cavs hit the scorebook, including rookie Jay Gittinger. The Cavs led by as many as 32, and nobody got hurt. Terrell Brandon conducted his own personal long-distance shootout, Brandon finishing with 20, including back-to-back threes, and this one does count as a W.
When we approach All-Star break is to be 30-plus. And so we reached that goal, you know, and we're coming together. It's a game you know you're going to win, you're supposed to win, but you got to go out and play it, and, you know, it's tough to get all the way psyched up to play, you know, Dallas, but, you know, you got to go out and get the job done, and that's what we did.
Next up for Price, Daugherty, and Nance, the All-Star break. Next up for the entire team, the Miami Heat at the Coliseum next Tuesday. In Chicago, Michael Jordan celebrated his 30th birthday with 27 points and only 3/4 of duty. That's because the Bulls bludgeoned the Jazz by 18. Scottie Pippen chipping in with 14 as well. And Jordan and company go to the break, still leading the Cavs by a game and a half. And now we're going to see some video of Michael celebrating his 30th birthday. Alley-oop to Scottie Pippen for 2 more. And Jordan's going to close it out here with another alley-oop slam. Michael enjoying 30 candles on the cake tonight. The Knicks will also